Yellow, 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 yellow. It is Tuesday night, and this means one thing and one thing only. That is Tuga Tuesday's time. Please, and an exciting, sensational, spectacular, and almost pornographic episode of the Liga Portugal on this past weekend, man. It was just one of the wildest
It was filthy.
Sundays in Liga Portugal. Clásicos back to back.
Yep.
Tons of goals, comebacks, making history. Well, you cannot ask for more in this edition of Tuga Tuesday. We are massive tonight, and we're gonna have this. As you see, this is a lineup. The lineup is growing. We got more resources. We went into the free agency and we spent a couple $1 million to get enough players for Tuga Tuesdays tonight. And Nino Torres on the call for you tonight. We got Derek Gomez, we got Rui Pereira Jr. Not Derek, I called him Rui Gomez the other time because I forgot.
You did. You called him Rui Gomez.
Mike D'Agostino, and the newest member, Mr. Mauricio Ruano. The only fan in the entire Primera Liga that watches every single game. If you go Santa Clara versus Nacional, he's there. If you go freaking Braga versus, I don't know, Morenense, he's watching. You know, the guy that he's not showing up only for the big stuff, right? It's just for any game. This is why he's here tonight. Guys, thank you for showing up tonight. And a massive episode. And of course, we're gonna start with this on my left. No, the other side. No, that way. I don't know. Derek Gomez, kick off the show, brother, with your 30 seconds and your amazing, marvelous, stunning, and shocking comeback at the municipal flag.
It was magic. I think Ruben said it best in the press conference, where this was sort of like his 4.5 years encapsulated in 90 minutes, where they go through these periods where they have to show resiliency. They have to show, the heart of a champion, and they did that. It really was, a perfect encapsulation of what we've seen with Ruben in the 4.5 years. It was just that that belief that they were going to win, that abdominal, just that spirit that never quits, and it was just like a perfect, sort of like a perfect ending, to this amazing 4.5 year adventure. So even though we had to suffer a bit and it didn't look good at halftime, I just loved the way that the game played out and the way that the game ended, and closed the book on Ruben's time here with Sporting. It was a perfect ending. They tied a club record. This is the team that's been around since 1906. Tied a club record for most wins to start a season. This is their 11th straight win. And it was a perfect fairy tale storybook ending to an unforgettable, just a legendary 4.5 years with Ruben. That will live, in Sporting's history as probably the greatest, 4.5 years, at least since the 1950s, that this team's experienced.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mauricio Ruano, welcome to the show. First episode here tonight. Thank you for being here. Give me your 30 seconds on your thoughts on every single game that would you watch on this Round 11 of the Primera Liga, bro.
Listen, I did watch that Morenense Gil Vicente. I told you I'd be the only one watching. I did watch that game on Friday. No, but
it was a good game, right?
It was, even just starting off with Santa Clara beating Guimarães. That's huge for a team like them. Just to get that win against a team who's actually been really good, not just good in the league, but in Europe. And we don't get that a lot in Guimarães. And Rui Borges has been doing a great job over there. And with Sporting, like Derek said, it's just, you can't make stuff up with what Amorim and the team has done since they announced he was about to leave. The wins they've gotten, the way they've played, the emotion that they showed after the game just shows you how close and tight they are as a group, not just with the coach, but just as a group, which I hope João Pereira can still keep going. That's my only thing. Just keep the team together, because it looks like they're a real good group of guys. They all watch each other's backs. Just keep them together. And then with Benfica and Porto, I didn't see that coming. Not at all. I didn't see that coming at all. But, the guys will get further into that. But that's that's pretty much everything that I was catching up on the league and everything. But yeah, that's everything.
Well, we'll talk because the man he watches all of it, all of the games, and all of them. I cannot speak for Rui because he wasn't there. He wasn't here last week. But I know that Mikey was kind of nervous, kind of anxious for that game. But I'm gonna leave Mikey for last because it's Pereira Junior. Please, your thoughts on the El Clásico.
It was a disaster. I couldn't really agree with your opening statements as pornographic. It wasn't for me. But it's just one of those games where just everything that went wrong, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And one of the most frustrating things about suffering a loss like this in a big game, and we saw this earlier with Sporting, and even the first matchup last year against Sporting last season, we just lacked that intensity. In these games it can go either way, and we've seen over the years where these games are usually a lot closer than what they are, and sometimes games just pull away, but it's just so unlike Porto to just not have that tripeiro gara, that just absolute fight on the middle of the pitch. Even when things were going wrong, there was still no sort of life or energy to just even just calling some sort of fouls, showing some sort of frustration that you're trying to show something out there. They were just dead completely. There was just no identity. Nothing could go wrong. And you know what? Sometimes in games like this, it's just not your night, but you have to show your character in this game. And there was absolutely none of it. I thought attacking wise, we were quite stale. We only had probably a couple of opportunities. We were given a gift on our goal, which, in games like this, it's the most deflating thing. I'm sure Mike was definitely gutted on that one because Benfica were playing so well and Porto caught their break. And usually the momentum swings, especially going right into halftime, just getting that goal. It's all right.
The worst time to give up a goal.
It was an awful 45 minutes, but you have to adjust in the second half. And that just didn't happen. Benfica just, they just stuck to their plan, and Porto just seemed like they were just trying to be something that they're not. Love what Vitor Bruno is doing tactically, but I don't know if I don't want to say that he doesn't have what it takes to get this team fired up like previous managers did. And I think at a lot of times, even when Porto's not at its best, they would win these big games because they go in, whether it's in Estádio da Luz or in the Dragão or Alvalade, they'll go in. It's like they find something to motivate themselves to really just give everything on the pitch. And a lot of those games, when Porto wasn't at their best in the season and come out with wins against Sporting or Benfica, was just them just having that dog in them just to grind these games out, frustrating the opponents. And look, we don't really have these dogs out there on our team anymore. Pep is gone. Otávio is gone. Players like Héctor Herrera and Mateus Uribe, they're not there anymore. Yeah. Who is that guy on the team that really is the closest thing to one of those players? And he was on the bench, and he's been on the bench in the last few games, which I don't understand. It's Pepe. That guy could just change a lot on the field.
He was sick. I think he was sick. Vitor Bruno said that he'd been sick.
Okay.
He'd been throwing up,
he ended up putting him on, and everything was just too late. I feel like he could have mustered it. I think there's a little bit more going on instead of him just being sick, because we haven't been seeing a lot of him starting consistently all season. In the games that he's been playing rather well, but we didn't have that dog out there. Not having having players like that just spark the team, that they're people that carry, how do I explain this? Their character on the field becomes infectious to the players around them. And a lot of the average players, the young players, they feed off of it. And there was no one there to just anchor everyone together and motivate them on the pitch. There was no like leader out there.
No
It
general.
seemed
You
no
missing a
general.
point.
Perfect. Yeah, there was no
Definitely.
general out there.
In the second half at Braga, Ullman was that man.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ullman,
yeah,
Ullman,
We'll get there.
yeah,
We'll
Ullman
get
was
there.
the guy that stepped up, and he was the general, and he willed us to victory. And to Rui's point, Porto just didn't have anybody that night that did.
Now, guys. I mean, this. I'm not wearing. This is my Peruvian jersey. Just I want to clarify this, right? I'm not going red because of that's just because international break and my team is playing against Chile. But I couldn't find a cigar, right? But I got this. I got this.
What is this?
BENFICA.
BENFICA.
You're like me, right? You're like me. Mike D'Agostino, your BENFICA. Give me 30 seconds, brother.
I mean, it all came together. Listen, Bruno Lage made a calculated decision in Munich to do what he did in Munich because this game was more important. I agreed with that. A lot of fans didn't. But when you get the end product, I guess it's forgiven. Just phenomenal play from Tomás Araújo as in the back. It was his best game that I've seen him play. Di Maria rolled the clock back to a younger years. Just finding the spaces. They exploited that space between Francisco Moura and between Thiago Jaló time and time again. 2 goals came right in that space, and they went at it a few more times. Just the press was on. You saw Auschwitz step up higher, playing next to Pavlidis in the press, and then Florentino being the octopus and just being everywhere and just getting those loose balls. Benfica was winning the ball up higher, which, those goals came in transition. They weren't plays that we built up by starting it out of the back and working it around. It was all done in transition. I like when Benfica sees a little bit less of the ball because it opens up the opportunity to win it higher and get those kinds of goals. So I was really happy with how it went, obviously. But I was nervous, like Rui said, going down 1-1. I've seen that episode before. I remember it wasn't that long ago. We were ahead 1-0 at the Luge, and Porto scored right before half, and then Taremi scores right at the start of the second half. That one finished 2-1. That was the whole game right there. And, I was a little surprised that I didn't see the same fight out of Porto, just like Rui said. I know they had one less day rest, and they traveled too, and you can see there's a lack of freshness and there's a lack of spring in their step a little bit.
Yeah.
So maybe this international break comes at a good time for them. I think for Benfica it comes at a horrible time because finally out of that funk, and now we got to stop again for however many days, and then we come back to with the Taça, then a European game, and then finally we have another league game. So it's a long way until we play again, but everything came together in those 90 minutes outside of the final minutes of the first half where they kind of switched off for a minute and Porto made them pay for it.
Guys, no, I want to tell you something about the Clásico, right? I was planning on doing the a preview, right? I thought, guys, we want to do a preview, right? And I contacted a couple of fans, and my plan was to show a couple of parties, right? Parties watching the game.
Oh, cool.
Right? And, but I was doing the previous game, the Santa Clara game, and one of the guys told me, "Oh, my grandpa fell off the stairs. He went to find his scarf, his BENFICA scarf. He fell down the stairs, so there was no party." Then, oh man, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And but we're gonna be watching. We're gonna be at the hospital. And I was like, "All right, you're gonna be at the hospital with your grandpa. All right, tell me your grandpa's name." João Machado, I think it is.
Yeah.
João Machado Lisboa.
Mm-hmm.
And I say hi to the gentleman, and Chris is also told me my grandpa is crying right now, man. Thank you, because I mentioned it during the game. And he dropped the stat, man. He dropped the stat during the game. He told me this is, by the way, my grandpa says this is the first time since 1964 that Benfica puts 4 goals on Porto. I was like, crap. I mean, I trust your prompt. I said, right, but let me look it up. This real quick.
That's like that's an amazing record.
It was round nine of the 64-65 season.
Wow.
Where a guy that you may know who it is, right? This guy from Mozambique.
Yeah.
Legend.
Cheat code.
Cheat code.
Use a cheat code.
On that game. And that was the last time BENFICA put 4 goals on Porto. It was special, man. It was special, and to make somebody happy. It was very special moment in the on my career and in the history of the class, because Mr. Gomez, you want to go back to your team?
Yeah.
And I want to mention this. I mean, we want to talk about your team, of course, but I'm so happy. I'm so happy for Ricardo Horta finally show up this season. And when I look at the score, it was 2-0, 2 times Ricardo Horta. And okay, this guy, I mean, the king of Braga is gonna lead the way this time. Is it gonna happen? And then Sporting took over, man. 72% of possession. They're dominated this game. They completely turned the game around. Turned the game. The second half was a completely different. So it's like 2 games, right? First game for Braga, and then the second half was for Sporting. So Derek, what do you think it came in the second half that you guys really took over on this game? And I'm going to say this, but of course you're going to follow on this one. That's a championship caliber comeback. Only championship caliber makes those kind of comebacks. So, Mr. Gomez, tell me about your comeback.
Yeah, I do want to touch upon what Mike said earlier, because I think it is important to bring some context to these games on Sunday. The Europa League and the Conference League did loom large on Sunday. I think that, I mean, I'm not saying that, that was the only reason that, Porto, Vitória Guimarães, and Braga lost, but it did loom large. It's not a coincidence that you look at those 3 games in this, you look at the second half scoreline for those 3 games combined. The teams that played on Thursday were outscored 8-0. It's not a coincidence. I think that says a lot. These guys ran out of gas, and that was part of what fueled the comeback. Braga ran out of gas. They gave up 4 goals in the second half. So I do think that the Europa League and the Conference League did loom large in that game. And to Mike's point, Benfica did concede that game on Wednesday. They just gave that game away, thinking about Sunday, which I thought was a great move. They were getting torn apart in the press, if you read all those papers. But I mean, even if they put like the maximum effort, they probably still would have lost.
And probably by more goals.
Yeah. So to concede it the way they did, conserved energy, rested players, I thought that was the right move. Secondly, when you look at the Sporting game, that game in particular, in addition to, Braga running out of gas, he made the right moves. You go back to that first goal that Braga scored. I'm curious to get, people's opinions on it, because I've been reading and I've gotten 2 different opinions from the referee and the referees who analyzed it for these different publications. But for me, it looked like, Franco Israel got totally bowled over when he tried to get back up to try to make the save. He got knocked down at the goal line. He was inside his own net. He couldn't get up. He was impeded from getting up and trying to save the shot. So, I thought, this is a great, opportunity for VAR to intervene. They didn't. But I'm getting, different opinions. There's one ref said the goal was clean. There's others who thought that, the goal was shouldn't have been counted. But you go back to that first goal, it was an easy clearance for De Bost. He was not under pressure. That was an easy clearance. He kicked it straight to Horta. So again, I know Ricardo Horta showed up and scored 2 goals, but amateur players are going to score that goal. It was De Bost practically passed the ball to him. and then in the second goal, Braga's second goal, again, it was a sloppy turnover in the middle of the pitch by Bragança. So what did Ruben do? He took out the boss at halftime, put in San Justo, who was absolutely critical to this game. And then he took out Bragança and he put in Morita, and Morita scored the first goal. Morita gave them that infusion of energy. The third, and then Ruben got it right again. Porto got hurt. We don't know how severe the injury is, but he had to put Jenny in, and he pushed Maxi up. And when Maxi gets pushed up, he doesn't give us much. So by taking Maxi out and putting Conrad Harder in, of course, we all know what Conrad ended up doing, ended up scoring, the 2 goals that won the game. So it was Ruben got the substitutions absolutely right. It's a combination of luck and making the right moves. The combination. So in my opinion, the keys to that victory were, Braga, who had absolutely nothing in the second half. They never attacked. There was nothing. Sporting was neutralizing them really easily, and then Ruben picking, the perfect substitutes. Guys that came, and I thought San Just looked outstanding in those 45 minutes. Morita gave us that energy. Was pushing back to Braga, to matching Braga's energy from that first half, and of course, Conrad Harder came up huge. But not to discount, how important Morton was in that game. Morton really took the team by the scruff of the neck, and he led us to victory. And of course, he scored that monumental goal to tie it, and that really sunk Braga. And you felt, even though it was 2-2 at that point, that Sporting was going to win. So I thought that those were the keys to the match. Braga had a very interesting strategy, and I liked it. They did a great job on Victor. I saw effective double teaming. He really did not. When he received the ball, it was always under tough conditions. Braga just basically said, Sporting, you can beat us, but it's not going to be Victor. Victor's not the one to beat us. Anyone else can beat us, but not Victor. So that was Braga's strategy. It almost worked. I think they did a really good job there. I thought they showed us in the first half why I do think they are by far, the best of the rest. They've lost too many points, so they're not really going to challenge the top 3. But there's zero doubt in my mind they're going to comfortably finish in 4th place, because they do have a great personnel. When they're playing, they play well. I mean, Rui can speak to it. I thought they played great at the Dragão, even though they lost 2-1. Yeah. They are a bona fide, really good team, and winning on the road, whether it's at Braga, whether it's at the Dragão, or whether it's at Luz, is a massive result. So this could, if Sporting wins the title, let's look back at this game. That's how I feel about it. Let's look back at this game. The game was just absolutely massive, in my opinion. Yeah.
Absolutely, and in the end, it was going harder, and the way harder.
Speaking to the pornography,
just to add on to that too, Braga could have easily tied that game against us, and they really had us worried for the last 15-20 minutes, because it seemed like, because Porto, this is one of to add on to the identity thing. Porto usually does a pretty good job at closing out these big games. Yeah. Porto were scared. They were scared the last 15 minutes of that game, 20 minutes. And we were pretty fortunate that we held on. And, you can give credit to the guys for muscling out. Braga is a good team. They were giving it to us really well. It was a back and forth game. But, they put us on our toes. They put us in check all the way through the 90, all the way to the final whistle. And it really could have ended in a draw. It could have went the other way. The team is really good. It's just unfortunate that they dropped too many points. Otherwise, it would have been a 4-way. But that's never.
They fired the coach after one game, and then they brought in Caballero. I know. This is sort of they sort of hit the self-destruct button.
Something about firing coaches and finding another one. It just
right. That is no
gives a spark.
Mauricio, you were watching the Braga game and the 2-0 at halftime, and you were like, "All right, this is the end of the perfect run." What do you think that?
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
You could see what Braga was doing in the first half. They came out physical. They're like, we're gonna mentally wear on them. Let's double team on Victor, and they just started going at Bragança, that turnover. I don't even know how Vitor Carvalho got off the field at halftime without getting a yellow card. That's how physical they were coming at Spartan, because he should have seen a yellow, and I don't know how he did it. Even in the second half, he didn't see one. I still don't know how, but you could see how physical they were getting. And even when I was watching the game, I was speaking with my cousin, and we saw the injury to Bot. And going back to what Derek said, I think they came out today, Derek, and they said he's out till December. It's the same leg. He's going to be out for like another 4 weeks.
Here we go again. Yeah.
Yep. So once he made that switch, I, like Derek, felt the same way. Araújo gives us a better on the wing than he does up top. I've always felt that too. And you can see the physicality. And my cousin even texted me, and he was like, this kind of game is meant for Conrad. This is the game. If you put him up there with Victor, let's put 2 Vikings up there. Let's see what if they want to go physical, let's put physical at them. And once he made that switch with Morita to get stronger in the midfield, to hold the ball more with Humelin, and then Conrad, that's when even Spartan got the emotion, and they caught back, and they just came more physical at them. And you could see, like Derek said, those European games, Braga just wasn't even pushing past the halfway line with the ball with any possession or anything. They were playing long ball, just hoping to get something, and they didn't have anything. And going back to their, I agree with Carvalho after the game. He's like, the schedule just wasn't fair, and he's right. It wasn't fair.
Yeah.
But listen, we don't make up the schedule. It is what it is.
It's because the national break, they couldn't play on Monday.
Said the same thing. Benfica too. Everybody can say the same thing. It is what it is. You got to deal with it the right way. That's why you're the coach. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
So, like what Derek said, I totally agree with the switches that he did. He matched the physicality with the right switches in the second half, and it just flipped the entire game.
Mikey. I was calling the game, right, and I was seeing Angelito Di Maria being dominated by Francisco Moura. First 15, 20 minutes, Angelito was going every single duel against Francisco Moura. Moura won every single one of them. And then first goal comes up for Angelito, and then he went into World Cup Qatar 2022 mode, and good night and good luck.
He was having success too, moving into the interior spaces away from him too. Like I said, into that gap between Moura and
to avoid him. He was trying to avoid him because he couldn't beat him.
Yeah, because that was the space to exploit. That's where it was. And Moura's a good one-on-one defender, and Angelito's 36 years old, so he's not going to beat a lot of guys on the dribble when they have time to defend him and to really square up to him. So he starts to drift. And again, I think Ba also got better at overlapping, which made it harder to defend Di Maria in the second half, because Ba got a lot more involved. He was just coming off an injury too. In the first half, he was and then he started to get more into it, and they started to. I think they really analyzed where to attack in the second half, because they also, with the press, they picked on Martin Fernandes a lot, and that second goal, Di Maria's goal starts. It starts with Martin Fernandes losing the ball near the touchline to Artoglu, who finds Auschnitz, and who in 2 passes in about 3 seconds put Di Maria in on a breakaway. So they made the adjustment. Yes, he did well, and then Di Maria and Benfica adjusted and started to adapt the way they were playing, and they found more success after making that small adjustment.
Rui, I mean, we know already that you were missing Pepe, but that was this was a game that I've seen the Nico Gonzalez and Alan Varela and that midfield, the core of Porto. It was probably the weakest side of the game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just want to add onto what Mauricio was mentioning about the schedule and how, it was unfair for Braga, and even Porto, people can say it was unfair for Porto too. But I mean, the whole schedule since the last international break has been unfair for basically everyone. I mean, how many games have we played since the last international break? The last 22 games, all of us have played 7 games. It's not just, the Thursday night game going into Sunday and the one extra day. It's it's unfair for everyone, because even in other games where it went from Sunday to Wednesday for the Champions League, that's one less day for them to rest when they're going into the Champions League, Benfica and Sporting. So it's, that's not really an excuse. It's been accumulative over the last 3 weeks that it's just too many games, and the strongest survive. And that's what happened. Sporting Benfica came out on top. They had the better plan. Everyone was tired. It was a condensed schedule the last 3 weeks for everybody. So, that's my take on it. That's, for me, it's, it could be unfair, but like, it was unfair for everyone because it's just accumulative after 3 weeks. At that point, I don't even think one extra day really made a difference. But to add on to answer your question, I thought I thought Porto's midfield was really exposed, but I think a lot had to do with not really getting help from the other players as well. Porto really was flat-footed in the midfield, which is very uncharacteristic. Benfica were on top of Porto, just on every 50-50 ball. The press, Benfica were playing really high, forcing Porto to be in possession, which is usually not how it goes. In these sort of games, Porto's the one that's being more the aggressor, applying extra pressure, causing the mistakes, and you see the goals that Benfica had in transition, quick passes, breaking the lines. It was at least 2 goals. And the frustration built on, and you saw that the lack of communication in the midfield and even in the back, it just against Lazio alone, just the defense was completely exposed. We were lucky to not lose by more than just 1 goal. And you look at the mistake from Alan Varela, causing that reckless penalty. He's lucky, another inch up, he would have taken his head off, Otamendi's head off completely, and that's a direct threat. It's just, just lack of concentration on this, and poor game management, poor strategy. I think, like I said before, I think Vitor Bruno I think he does a great job at exposing the smaller teams. I think he prepares really well. Tactically, I think Porto's doing a much better job than the last 2 years, breaking down the smaller teams and actually getting points and showing some good promise, more attacking side football. But when you go into these big games, it's different. You got to bring out that mentality. It seemed like every single Clásico game, whether it was against Benfica or Sporting, Sergio found something to motivate the entire team to go out there and just get the guys ready. And I think on top of all of that, I think Vitor Bruno was very poor on the selection of the starting 11 the last 3 games. It was basically the same. So if you want to factor in like the fatigue and everything,
absolutely,
that's another thing that Vitor Bruno should have prepared himself for. He said that if fatigue is the issue, it's not just a schedule that was unfair. It was also poor management on the starting 11 on the last 3 games. You got to mix these things up. We've seen him mix everything up until the last 3 games all season long, trying different players. He didn't do it going into these 3 games, knowing that they were huge. There was a lot on the line in the league and in the Europa League as well. Poor management there, and kudos to Benfica. They were just the better team. They were more prepared. They had the better strategy. They had the better starting 11. They were prepared for this game, and, they deserved it. Porto wasn't, and Vitor Bruno is going to learn from that. He's still a young coach. It's his first season as the actual manager. So he's going to look back on this, and he's got to correct it.
Mr. Gomez, this is this multi-goal game from Sporting. The most lethal striker on the planet walk away empty-handed. But what a massive game from Viktor Gyökeres, man! What a massive game from Viktor Gyökeres without scoring, because the way he just drifts to the left, and being a winger, knowing that Maxi Araujo needs help, knowing that left wing from Sporting. It's not as strong as it was last year.
Yeah,
he is, the men that they got all the attention, and not only the attention, but they're running the show from the sides. And I love that tremendous piece of work from Victor Gyökeres without scoring.
Yes, yeah. No, I thought that his work rate in that game was
Ridiculous.
Was ridiculous. Was outstanding. We were talking about fatigue. This is one guy I've never seen get tired.
Cyborg,
running.
He's a cyborg.
Running. And he did a lot of that in the game. Again, it's just he's not a fixed number 9. That's just not his game. He goes, you'll see him on the right, you'll see him on the left. He's always looking for space, and he's always drawing defenders away. And that, creates space for his teammates, which you saw in the two Conrad Harder goals, where Conrad did have the space because Victor is taking defenders with him. Even though he didn't score, and he was coming off the hat trick against Manchester City, which has gone all the headlines in England. He still loomed large in this game. He was critical to the win, even though he didn't end up on the score sheet. So I mean, I was really happy with with his performance, and just the team globally. What a tremendous response. I mean, even though I know Braga was looked like a tired team, still that's a really good team out there. This is one of the top 3 road games, the tough 3 road games that we have in this league, and it was just a tremendous response. And of course, kudos to Victor, who continues to lead this team. 11 games, we've scored 39 goals in the league. It's just these are really they are PlayStation numbers. It's just we scored 4 goals in the second half. It's just. Yeah, it's like something I never thought I would see. This is just really I mean these 11 games, it's been really dominant. Just spectacular football for the most part. And now the big unknown is coming. The new coach. No one has a crystal ball. No one knows how this thing's going to turn out. So we'll see if he can give the continuity to this team. But only time will tell.
Mauricio, and on the other side of the pitch, right? On the other side of the pitch, Braga got 2 players that they were outstanding on this game. Talking about Bruma, talking about Ricardo Horta. But you mentioned that not like it happened with Porto, but I want to say in a similar way. Moutinho, Carvalho, Martinez, Roy Fernandez. That midfield from Braga wasn't there. But I wanted to ask you this: since we're talking about the left wing, the left flank for Sporting, would you like to have Bruma on Sporting?
That's where he started.
Yes, it is.
Been there,
done that.
That's where he started.
The thing is,
that
we have now,
kind of an acrimonious. It was a very acrimonious split from.
I almost feel like Bruma's almost just similar, like the Marcus Edwards that we have now. And Edwards can't even get on the field for some reason. I'm even looking on the bench. He can't even make the bench anymore because I feel like he got hurt again. They said that he picked up a knock in training. Yeah, can't catch a break. But it's nothing serious. Yeah, Port goes down, opens a window for him to get some playing time again, and he goes down again. And I know that's Nino's boy. I know that's your boy. But listen, Bruma's a nice player and everything, but I think with what we have, I'd rather have with what we have and what we're building with the veteran and the young core, with the Maxi, and now with Jenny. They're just so used to the system and everything. I'm really comfortable. And just my worry now that Ruben left, it's not that he's going to come back and get Victor. I'm worried he's going to come back and get Kenda, because that kid just keeps growing and growing, and he's only 17.
He's
he reminds me of Mendes before he went to PSG, when that guy was just running the flank and just owning that left wing. And that's like Jenny now. He just runs that flank with his speed, and just like Nunes Mendes is just going right by guys. and that's what. So I'm scared not for Victor leaving because hey, if you want to give me the money for Victor, I'll take the money because that's $100 million. But Ginda's 17, and he's just growing.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm worried about. But I would never trade a Kenda for a Bruma. I'd take Kenda all day.
I mean, it's like another Nuno Mensch. I don't see him. I don't see him playing here next year.
I think he'll be
Fabrizio Romano's watching right now. By the way,
he's too young.
Here you go. Stop.
He's too young.
You call him, Mikey. You call Fabrizio.
Fabrizio already put Eucharist saying goodbye.
Yeah.
He puts up everything. That guy's got to stop.
Oh, Mikey, on your side, we've been talking here. You know, the lack of quality of not quality of it's a subpar performances from Braga midfield, from Porto midfield, but this double pivot for BENFICA with the team and okay. Are you so glad that he doesn't have to play left back, center back, right winger, left winger,
of course,
everything? You know, he is someone bread and butter. This is my house, brother. I am a center mid. I am a Viking. I can play everywhere else, but this is where I play better soccer, and this is where I'm more productive for the team, alongside with Florentino Luis. That for me and you, I know that you've been defending Tino for.
Oh yeah, that's my guy.
Game, he's and I think he's the blue collar guy here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The blue collar and goes there, does the dirty job, doesn't mess around, doesn't complicate things. All right, doesn't make it simple. Make it simple, because that's not. I mean, you're not there to be the number 10 because you're not a number 10. Just don't
he's a 6.
Play, let the transition flow. And those two are what I'm gonna say. You got the goals from Di Maria and everything else, but this is what this team has finally stabilized.
Yeah,
with those two on the midfield.
It's what allows the Di Marias and the Artuglus to do what they do further up the field. Is having, especially Florentino, but that duo in that double pivot, winning the ball where they do, and then finding those guys in areas where they can actually do some damage. Versus when they're not there, especially when Tino's not there, Di Maria has to come further back. He's got to get wider, and he's not going to hurt anybody when he's receiving the ball almost at midfield out on the touchline. He's not going to hurt anybody there. He's not going to. He may knock a long one in, but they know as soon as he has nowhere to go, you can see the back line is dropping, and they're looking, and they're going to meet the ball if he tries to hit the long one. And that's one of the reasons Pavlidis is having such a hard time getting on the score sheet too, is because Di Maria's getting the ball. He wants to put it there, and you've got 4 backs that all know that it's going to him, and they just position themselves. So, yeah, having Tino and Auschwitz win the ball where they do, and especially having Tino stay home where he belongs, it allows everybody else to go up. It allows Carreras to go up. It allows Ba to go up. It provides, like you said, the balance, and then those other more dangerous attacking players can get into more dangerous areas, get the ball in areas where they can do what they do best, versus having them tracking back all the time and winning the ball back in the defensive in the middle third with a long way to go to get into any kind of dangerous areas. I think that Tino has to play. I mean, I know the criticism always is that you don't need a defensive midfielder against Farense, and you don't need a defensive midfielder against Casapia. But you also can't just plug the guy in when it's a tough game either and have him sit 3-4 weeks at a time just because you don't think the opponent is strong enough to play with the defensive midfielder. So, I mean, it's a balancing act. You get what you get on one end, you lose on the other end, and you do the math and you figure out what leaves the team better at the end of the day. And I think for me, it's always having Tino in the 11 and allowing the other 10 guys to be more dangerous.
Rui, and with all the, I know that when Vitor Bruno makes the substitutions, right? I mean, you were 3-1 down, but you know that not because you have more offensive players on the pitch, you're gonna create more offensive situations. You ended up playing with I think Samu, Galeno, what is it? Borges and Amaso, all of and Pepe. I mean, who puts the balance in here? When I mean, I understand that you got to go for the game, but it was. I think it was not the right call.
Nothing worked. No.
Yeah, no, definitely not in this game. This is where like my point goes back to where we didn't really have that guy that has the edge, that energizer, that edge, that warrior like character on the field, and that would be Pepe in this game. He's a hard worker. He covers a lot of ground. He can defend well. He can track back better than Fabio Vieira could. And just having this, in certain games, this can work when you have Eustáquio, Nico Gonzalez, and Alan Varela. But for me, it's just like you're losing an attacker, and you're just having too flat of a midfield. And when you have Fabio Vieira on the right side, along with those three traditional midfielders, Fabio Vieira is more of a traditional number 10 that's playing out wide, and you don't really have anyone that can track back as well like Pepe would, who could offer support to Martin Fernandes, who, by the way, was absolutely destroyed in this game. He was horrific, and I feel like in a game like this, having a player like Pepe on that right side would help help the problem a lot more. Fabio Vieira doesn't track back like Pepe could. He's not as quick. He doesn't press as well. He doesn't have that tactical awareness in the middle of the field and on the back on your first third like Pepe would. You see him tracking back. You see him coming into the middle, offering pressure, trying to force mistakes into the midfield. And I think not having a player like that in this game, Porto were just too slow. They were just too flat-footed in this game. Three traditional midfielders, and then you have a Fabio Vieira on the right side, and that takes a lot out of Galeno to be more impactful in these games. And Galeno wasn't. You saw him forcing some shots. He had one good shot early in the game that just went over the bar, which is great. That's what he likes to do, but he wasn't really able to just be his normal self. He didn't really have the support, and a lot of it just had to be with the players that were on the field against Benfica. In certain games, certain players cannot play in this. You have to go in differently against Benfica than you would against Estoril, Right. And I was upset. I missed out last week because I couldn't talk about the ass whooping that we gave Estoril, right?
I know.
So and they dropped points again last weekend, so it wasn't that bad. But it's I think there's a lot more. I think there's a lot of errors in this game that you have to put on Vitor Bruno. I think he just had this whole starting 11 wrong. I think he was really prepared for not prepared. He didn't prepare well for the last three games leading up into this one in terms of rotating the starting 11. And I think it just added more to maybe that's why the team looked so gassed out in this game. But you can also say the same. Benfica were in the same situation too. So I think just not having that guy that can just do so much. I'm not saying it would have made the result different. I don't believe that at all. I think Benfica were just much better. They were at home. They're on a run and they're just clicking right now, and it's hard to stop that. But I think it would have just given a little bit more life. I think we would have been a little bit more productive up top. I think Martin Fernandes would have been a little bit more effective going up, having a player like Pepe that can just kind of drop back more and just create more and give Martin Fernandes more opportunity to go forward because he likes to do that. So there was a lot of pieces that we missed in this due to who was put on the field and how we approached it. This would have been a good idea if we went up against a smaller team, but you have to tackle teams like Benfica, teams like Sporting, Braga, Guimarães a little bit differently than you would against the rest of the league.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about coaches, and we're gonna go in a second with Joao Pereira. But first, let's talk about the winner of this weekend, man. Let's talk about Bruno Lage, Mr. Benfica. Talk to me about your coach.
Yeah, he played his cards right in this one. I mean, again, he took the heat for Wednesday, but he knew what he was doing, and Benfica don't have the depth to be going to Munich and leaving it all there, and then having to play a Porto on Sunday. If the opponent was anybody else on Sunday, it would have been a different approach in Munich. So he did what he had to do. It's not popular. It's not romantic, but he did what he had to do, and he went back to the basics. It was also a good opportunity in Munich to try playing with a back five in case that's needed again, and they proved they can, for the most part, keep the other team off the score sheet if that's the goal at the end of the day. But coming in, he put everything back how it was for this game with Porto, and he knows Porto well. He knows the league, and I think he just got the pieces right. And then the whatever that was with that substitution, where it looked like Di Maria was coming off, and he's getting his flowers, he's getting the applause, and suddenly he
no, not you.
It was Arthur, but it makes sense because Best is going to play on the right. He's not going to play on the left. So he left Di Maria in longer, but he rested him on Wednesday, and that's what happens when Di Maria is managed properly versus just run into the ground game after game until he can't go anymore. So I think Bruno got it right.
The substitution was like, hold on a second, wait a second, who's leaving?
I know.
I was like, what?
And I'm going on the apps while you're calling it, and there's only one substitute. I saw two guys leave.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What's going crazy, man? What's going crazy? Mr. Gomes, I gotta tell you something, right?
Yeah.
I gotta tell you something. I know that you are the most anxious man. You took pills before you watch the games. And
I've had my heart broken 3 times.
And maybe I don't know. Maybe you smoked something before the game, something to relax or something. But let me give you something to calm down a little bit. All right. I saw the press conference of Joao Pereira, right?
Yeah.
The guy, he understands. He understands what it's like to be the coach for this team. He knows what he's getting. He knows the heritage that he's getting from Ruben Amorim. And the way that he approached the press conference with so much respect. And I think, I haven't seen a minute of this guy coaching. But that press conference, if I were a Sportingista, I'll be like, all right, I think we can trust this guy. Very.
Yes. So João Pereira is, he's got an interesting story. He basically grew up with Ruben. They were juniors at Benfica together. They played for Benfica together. Both him and Ruben were coached by Jorge Jesus, which I think Jorge Jesus had an influence on both of them.
Yeah.
And João Pereira played, had 3 separate stints with Sporting. So this guy knows Sporting. He retired. He retired with us. He retired with us. That first championship season with Ruben, and he's stayed with us ever since. He took over the U23 team, and then most recently he was put in charge of the B team. So I do think that this guy was being groomed since 2021 to replace Ruben. And I, knowing that, this is going to be Ruben's last year, the plan was for him to be the coach, in the 2025 season. It happened a little sooner.
It came right earlier.
It happened a little sooner, but this was always going to be the guy. He's got a close relationship with the president. He had a close relationship with Ruben. He knows the team. And the team seemed like they've spoken to Morton about it, spoken to Danny Bragança about it. It seems that the team has been really welcoming, and the team does look at him as sort of he looks like he looks like continuity. Like he's going to bring continuity to the team. He's not going to rock the boat. There isn't going to be a change of formation. You're basically going to have, the same starting lineup out there. It's, going back to what I said last week, it's going to be, how can he motivate these guys, to go out there? Can he motivate these guys as good as Ruben did? And Ruben is actually really good at the tactical part of the game, preparing for different opponents. How are they going to analyze? How is he? How would him and his team going to analyze the opponents that they're going to play, and how are they going to tactically match up? So those are the big questions there. But I mean, I do think that right now, in the middle of the season, this is the right choice. Because he does know the team. He's been living with this team. He's been with the organization now for several years. So I mean, I do think this was the safest pick, the right pick. But that being said, we don't know what lies ahead if he can maintain what Ruben's created here. The team that Ruben did something extraordinary here. So can he maintain this? That's the big question. But going back to what Mauricio said, Marcus Edwards, this is an opportunity right now. I think this is an opportunity for João Pereira too. With Porto going down, can we finally recover Marcus Edwards?
Please,
this started. I mean, again, my personal opinion on this, and I've been pretty open about this. I never thought that Ruben was super high on Marcus Edwards. He was playing him because Trincão for the most part, was ineffective. Yeah. Once Trincão got going, it was Trincão in and Marcus on the bench. And Marcus really never got back into the team.
The Braga boys.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, Trincão was always Ruben's man. And he was just waiting for Trincão to step up and, earn his time. And, to his credit, he has. But he was always waiting for that moment, for Trincão to sort of supplant Marcus Edwards. But now this is, I think, João Pereira's first opportunity. Really, can we bring Marcus Edwards back into the fold? He's just he has too much talent for that. It's talent that's going to waste. Let's exploit his talent. Let's give him back his confidence. Let's get him back some minutes. Because he can be such an effective player for Sporting. We do need another option other than Porto Trincão on the bench, or they can also be a spot starter. To give these guys adequate, because we are playing so many games. This calendar is absurd. It's a crazy. So I'm looking forward to see. I want to see if Marcus Edwards is part of João Pereira's design. That would be one of the first things I'm going to look for. When he takes the helm. But yeah, I mean, we're going to see. It's going to be a baptism by fire. I know we got the third division team there, the Amarante, at the Taça Portugal, but on that Tuesday he's playing Arsenal. So this will be a baptism by fire. We're going to see. We're going to see what this guy is made of, in very shortly.
Mauricio, I posted the other day, right, when I got the news, right? Not when I got the news. I said this was a championship caliber comeback, and many comments were saying, "Hey, no, because they got a new coach. This is a new coach. I don't think this is going to happen with a new coach." Do you think it's going to happen with a new coach, the championship?
It can happen. I'm not going to say it's going to. We don't know if it's going to.
Good.
Like what Derek
said.
I
can say that.
We don't know. Don't put words in my mouth. We don't know. Do I hope it will?
We don't know.
Obviously, I hope it will. But listen, like Derek said, he's doing the same system. He's going to implement little things. He's not going to implement a whole bunch, especially halfway already in the season. The guys are already familiar with the system they're in, the way that they play. He'll implement little things as we go on. Like Derek said, I hope he builds more of a bench with Edwards and everybody. With Quaresma now coming back, maybe he can play that Amarante game, get some legs underneath of him. I just want him to build some of these guys because the only thing that can really slow us down, it's not even João Pereira, it's these injuries. Because as long as he keeps these guys, the motivation and everything going, I think we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be all right. It's the injuries, and that's why I'm hoping he can build this bench with a Marcus, with the Quaresmas. St. Jude still keeps giving us what he's giving us now and keeps building this, because this just keeps building the morale with all the guys and everybody there. I hope he keeps doing it. My only thing, like I said, when he's giving you everything on you couldn't have asked for what he gave you. The Champions League, where we're at, I think Derek can probably look this up if I'm wrong. I think we just need a tie, and we finished in the top 8, and we're already through.
Champions League.
Not top 8, but I mean the playoffs.
Yeah, the playoffs.
Playoffs are.
You couldn't have asked of anything else even more than that. Just a tie, and you're already going in through. Just extra money already coming in to what we're already building.
Yeah,
and with the league, like BENFICA kind of did you a favor beating Porto and kind of extending the little bit. Granted, you probably wanted a tie, but that's the second best thing that could have happened for Sporting is probably BENFICA winning that game. So I'm with him, what he's done, what he's built, and what he's laid out for you. If this goes, that's the only thing. I hope it doesn't go wrong because the guy's just starting. And the last thing I want is Sporting.
The tough first job.
Mike knows how Benfiquistas are. They're already buying Otamendi his River Plate ticket to leave because of what he did. They can't wait. That's how people are in Portugal. Once you mess up,
that's why I find this to be tricky. Because when coaches normally come in, they're replacing a coach that's not done a good job.
Right.
These guys are going in there right now with nothing to lose. They're taking a team that's in poor form, and they're going to be given the opportunity to turn around. Jean Pierre has everything to lose.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is not like it's a tough spot for him to be in. He's got everything to lose. Ruben's put you in the semifinals of the Taça Liga. Ruben's got you 10 points to the Champions League. Ruben won the first 11 games of the league. You have everything to lose.
Right.
So I mean, this is it's he's been given this great squad and this great team that scores all these goals and all these great results. That's nice. But he has everything to lose. I mean, I think it's a tough spot. I mean, people may have a different opinion on it, but I feel that is just a tough thing to come into. When everything is basically so perfect right now. You just beat Manchester City 4-1, crying out loud. So I wouldn't want to trade places with him right now. This is a tough spot to come.
Nino, like you said, he presented himself well in the press conference and everything.
Yeah.
Listen, that's great.
Yeah.
We're worried about what's on the field. You can
as soon as points are dropped. That's
We'll see, right?
We're waiting.
It's a lot of pressure. I mean, when they drop that first game, there's gonna be.
We'll see.
Absolutely.
We'll see what happens there. Yeah. Now, about dropping points, I think I said it on air. I think I did. And that at this El Clásico, the margin of error for Porto was wider than for Benfica. Because if Benfica loses this game,
it's it.
I think that was it, right, for the
That's
season.
Third place, probably.
But now, for me, it's more exciting because I love soccer drama. I love the things to get tight. Probably not much for Rui and Porto, but I'm not trying to make you feel better about this. But it was this situation where Porto has a wider margin. I mean, we can lose this game. We can afford to lose this game. Rui.
Yeah, that's where this is what and Vitor Bruno's been getting a lot of criticism, and he should get some criticism. It seems like he's just not. It could be just a coincidence, but we're just not clicking against the bigger teams. Even in the Europa League, we're not doing too well. There, I feel like we should have beat Lazio, but you look at the games against Sporting and Benfica, it's completely different what we've been seeing against the other teams, and this is where I'm not panicking too much because we are actually doing a better job right now at this point in the season than we did in the last 2 seasons. And a lot of it has to do with picking up the points, not dropping points against the smaller teams. And at the end of the season, it is big. And Mike mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. It might come down. It might be a three-way race, and it might come down to these games, the classical games.
Yes.
But the good news here is for us is that we are playing well against the smaller teams. We're much more prepared. We're going in with the right mindset, the right approach, good strategy and everything, and we're getting results and we're winning convincingly, unlike the last 2 years. So I'm optimistic. I don't think we're going to win the league this year, but I think we're going to be in the race for a much longer time. And I don't think we're going to be playing catch up like we were the last 2 seasons. So, it could just come down to these small teams, the smaller teams. And we have 2 wins against Braga and Guimarães, and that's really good because that could always go. Since we lost 2 Clásicos, there's always that possibility of dropping points to Guimarães and Braga. So it's good that we got those 2 wins in, and then we should win the rest of the games for this half of the schedule. There's no excuse for it. So I'm optimistic, and I think things can turn around. It's again, Vitor Bruno made some mistakes, and he's a new coach. It's his first year, like having all this pressure and responsibility, and he's got to learn from it. And I think he will.
Mikey, you don't play the derby until when is it? Not December.
It's in January, I think, right? I think it's in January.
It'd be the second to last game of the
first half. Yeah.
Second to last game of the first half. All right. So, man, and when is this? You don't know when you're playing that game in
Right now it's December 19th, but I think that could, if I'm not mistaken, that's a weekend of Taça games. So.
Oh man!
So it probably won't be. I don't know. It's on the app says December 19th right now.
December 19th. Okay, that's the game that you got pending, right?
Yeah.
Woo! But as always, Mikey says, I'm not counting those points.
You count it when it's the other teams. You don't count it for yourself.
I'm counting it. He counted mine last year. I'm counting his this year.
All right, guys, we are going to the end of the show. We're not going to do the predictions for the Primera Liga because it's in a couple of weeks. But of course, Mikey, we're going to do something for me, please, guys. We're going to do the CONMEBOL qualifiers.
Oh, okay, we're doing that. I got you. Let me change my page here. Hold on.
All right. We're going to do the predictions because that's a tradition, Mauricio. Yeah, I know you've been watching the show. You know.
Yeah.
I know everybody picks against Peru. I
what?
Not on this show.
No.
Okay.
We're all Peru fans on this show. Yeah.
All right, Michael, you got him.
I got him. Thursday, Venezuela, Brazil. In Venezuela.
In Venezuela, I'm going to tell you what I think. Venezuela is going to scratch points from Brazil. 1-1 that game. 1-1. Yeah, that crazy.
I think Brazil guts one out 2-1.
Mauricio?
I think they gutted out too. I say Brazil 1-0.
1-0, huh? Derek?
I agree with you, Nino. I think it's going to be 1-1. Yeah, Brazil's just an underachieving team.
Rui?
Yeah, their national team is not at all as good as it used to be. It's pretty ugly over there. But I'm just going to go with them, though. It's not going to be pretty. Venezuela, that's not an easy place to play, and their fans are
and they're getting better.
Yeah, they are getting better.
Yeah.
So I think they'll sneak 1-0 in this one.
Who, Brazil?
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys, by the way, check out the edition of the Players Tribune because Adriano is talking about all his his fall and everything.
Yeah. I read a piece of it.
Check out Players Tribune. Adriano telling his story, how he went down crazy because after he lost his dad, he lost his mind. And he's in the favelas, man. He's in the favelas drinking every other day, man.
Oh, yeah.
A player that was after Ronaldo, probably the best number 9, but we'll never know because he derailed from.
Best player in FIFA 2005, man. That guy was an animal.
That was a beast.
Yeah, he was a beast.
He was.
Yeah. Javier Zanetti said that was like the biggest loss of his career was not saving him after his father passed away. Yeah, it's he tried his best to help him. He just Just couldn't.
Couldn't reach.
Couldn't help him, and if he
Yep.
he doesn't cooperate, it is what it is. All right, Mikey, what's the next game?
Paraguay, Argentina.
I don't know, man.
In
It's
Paraguay.
in Paraguay, right?
It's in Paraguay, yeah.
Gustavo Faro, man. Yeah, no, man, Argentina's gonna.
Yeah,
I think
It's
Argentina's.
not that easy. I think it's gonna be 2-1. It's gonna be 2-1 Argentina. Mauricio.
Yeah, Messi needs a bounce back after being knocked out of the MLS playoffs.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
41-year-old Brad Guzan took him to school.
I know, bro. I saw that. My boys from Atlanta, they're gonna be so happy on Thursday when I do a podcast with them.
I'll take Argentina 3-0.
3-0.
Oh.
Okay. Did it?
I'm gonna go Argentina 2-0.
2-0. Rui?
I'm gonna go with Paraguay over the Estoril of South America. 2.
South America.
5-0.
It's not that delusional to think. I'm telling you.
Huh?
Gustavo Alfaro, he's the best motivator out there among the coaches.
Yeah, let's go 2-0. I'm gonna be generous. 2-0 here. Paraguay. Let's go.
Wow. That'd be a big one.
Mikey.
3-1 Argentina.
All right, what's the next one?
Ecuador, Bolivia. Not
In
at 13,
Ecuador.
wherever that last place was. Remember you told us we looked up the altitude they played at last time?
Insane, right? 13,000 feet, man.
Yeah.
13,000 feet above sea level.
This is much better at 10,000 or whatever.
Right,
that.
I know, right? Gee.
Under
But they're playing in Quito, right?
Yeah.
They've been in Ecuador? Oh, okay, yeah.
Monumental Banco Pichicha. That's the stadium.
Yeah, that's the Liga Stadium.
Okay, so it's in Quito. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not saying 1-1 in this, man. Ecuador has been shaky lately, man. I'm gonna tell you that. Mauricio?
I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go with 1-1.
Gomez?
I'll go Ecuador 1-0.
1-0. All right. Rui?
Yeah. Yeah, 1-0 Ecuador.
Ecuador, right? Just tied right there. Mikey?
2-1 Ecuador.
2-1 Ecuador. Con Joe Plata scoring. There you go.
Yes, I hope so.
All right.
Yeah.
Uruguay, Colombia.
Oh man, the heavyweight matchup.
Ooh.
Shit. Fuck.
Yeah, matchup.
There are going to be goals, brother. There's going to be a draw, but it's going to be goals. 2-2. I'm going to say 2-2 on that one at the Centenario. Mauricio?
I'm going to go 2-1 Uruguay.
2-1 Uruguay. All right.
I'm with you on this one, Nino. 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah.
Rui?
I'll go 2-1 Colombia.
2-1 Colombia.
That would be a big win. Yeah.
I'll say 1-1 in the football match, and Uruguay will win the fight in the stands.
And remember, they're not in the States now, so
No.
it's going to be different.
It'll be a little
It's
tougher.
going to be different, brother. All right. What's next?
Okay, it's your boys. It's Peru, Chile.
Oh.
2-1, baby. 2-1. Let's get it on.
Team Lomo Saltado. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. 2-1
I'll
for me.
1-0
Peru.
Peru.
1-0 Peru. Thomas?
2-1. 2-1 Peru.
2-1. Roy?
2-1 Peru.
2-1. Mikey?
2-1 Peru.
2-1.
All right.
I like it. Yeah, man. Jesus, man. Good vibes. Positive vibes.
Positive vibes, man.
Man, brother. We don't win this game, we're fucking out, man. We're done, man. We don't win this game, we're fucking done. And guys, I don't know if you know, right? We've been having oh my God. You guys heard about the news about Peru? No.
Nino, what happened with the lightning strike or something like that?
Oh yeah, that's nothing, brother. Yeah, the lightning on the page, on the page, and 4 people died, but that's not the point here. The point here is that the
Not a big deal.
that's so big, you know. That's
No big
so
deal as long as my team wins.
That's not a big deal. The big deal here is that the freaking president got arrested, man. The freaking president of the Peruvian Federation got arrested. Him and 7 other people, and a presidents of 2 more clubs from Peru, from the Liga Uno.
Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous. We don't have a president. And guess what? The previous president, he's in jail too.
Oh, man. Oh, jeez.
Man,
There's a movie on Netflix about the presidents in CONMEBOL. I forget what I watched part of it once.
Is it?
Yeah, I forget what it's called. I'm gonna find out and let you know.
No, that's the FIFA gate. That's the one they.
No, but there's one that's focused completely in South America.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me know, Mike.
I'll try to find it. I know I saw some of it.
El Presidente.
Yes.
El Presidente, yes.
Yeah.
El Presidente went down, man. Jesus, man. It is ridiculous. And you know what? It's coming. There are more names coming. This is still up. I'm so mad, right? That's passion for soccer, man. We are just like, we're so cuckoo, man. But anyway, guys, this is the end of the show. Thank you so much. We're 15 minutes past the hour, but we don't have it fun, so whatever. All right, Mauricio, thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you, Mauricio.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Nino Torres.
Yep.
See you not next season, in a couple of weeks. In a couple of weeks. We got an international break too on Tuga Tuesdays. So see you next
It'll
time.
be December the next time we're back.
December. All right, everybody.
Yeah,
all right.
December.
December.
Yeah.
Get your
Happy Thanksgiving.
Santa Claus hats. Anybody has Santa Claus hats? Boom. Santa Claus hats on December. Deal. See you guys.
All right, boys.
See ya.
Take care.
See ya.
Take it easy, guys.
All right, see you.
Bye-bye.